To the no bullshit hour.
Let's just breaking news. No more bullshit. No more bullshit.
No bullshit. All right. Welcome, everybody. No bullshit. What's the date? April 30th, 2021. Big program today. So remember, share. I'm not going to move till you start sharing. It doesn't hurt you to share. Facebook won't even let me advertise.
Yeah, they're a little difficult these days.
Because they can't take the truth.
Yeah.
We're nothing but the truth.
Yeah, they're just full of bullshit.
Yeah, and this is no bullshit. We're not the left. We're not the right. We're right with you. Look, it's going to be huge. Look, last week, the conviction of Minneapolis officer Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd was called progress. But then we see a rash of new images of shooting of black men at the hands of law enforcement. And we hear the protests again. Fix the police. But what does remaking police in America even mean? And once we establish that, how do we accomplish it? This is big. With us is former Detroit Chief of Police Ralph Godbee, who quite candidly says policing in America is a racist enterprise and it needs to be torn down to the ground. I don't think I've heard any cop, much less the cop of one of the biggest jurisdictions in America, say such a thing. So hang in. Let's all talk about that. We also got we got a new little bit we're going to be injecting into this show. I think I'm going to call it What's Your Beef?
Okay.
You know how many mayors, small town municipalities are calling me about their water?
Yep.
About a new jail being built. About this week, it's about Eastpointe, little old Eastpointe, neighbor of Detroit, can't get no vaccines. Why can't the Democratic mayor of Eastpointe, Michigan, get some vaccines from the governor or the county executive? Why, Ralph?
That's the question.
Stay tuned.
I think it's Red's first sit-down interview, too.
Yeah. We're training Red. You know, Red's going to be the reporter in this town. But as always, first, share. The No Bullshit News Hour is brought to you by American Coney Island. Esquire names it one of the 100 restaurants in America we cannot afford to lose. Do you hear that, Vice? Yes, we have Vice News in the house today with us, filming about what's going on in America, how we the people getting fleeced. They're here. They believe. Is that right? What's up, LePay? Good to see you, brother. Listen, they're going to go down to American Coney Island and get the original Coney dog. Proprietary dog. You can't buy that in the stores like you can buy the Lafayette dog in the store. Do you know that? It's a 104-year-old family recipe, the chili. Vidalia onions, mustard.
And the Greek spices?
The Greek spices.
Can't forget about those.
Don't forget the secret menu. Basically, here's the secret menu. Ask for it and see if they'll do it.
They will. They'll find a way to get it done.
Or look, do me a favor. If you don't want to go out just yet, you're not getting the vax, you will still want to have it. You go to AmericanConeyIsland.com. You get a Coney kit delivered to your door. American Coney Island, corner Michigan Lafayette. Detroit's oldest run family restaurant. And also brought to you by ADR Consultants. Listen, you can't fight City Hall, Ralph.
I disagree.
You cannot fight City Hall on your own, Ralph.
You need help, Ralph.
Okay, we need help.
ADR can. They can help you.
Ralph.
And listen, if you are City Hall and you don't know how to get it done, ADR knows how to get it done.
So you didn't say ADR at first.
Do you know what ADR consultants do?
Tell me what
they're experts in procurement, IT, best practices, permitting, everything.
Well, you can fight City Hall then.
With the help of ADR. They're honest, they're ethical, smart. You call Barry Ellentuck at 248-318-9424 and talk. You're not going to charge you for it. It's a really serious business, a serious concern. ADR Consultants, honest, ethical, smart. Okay. The latest on COVID before we get to Ralph. Ralph, you please join in it. You know, friend of the show today, brother.
Yes, sir.
So the latest, the governor has resorted, her latest thing to get this COVID pandemic under control is vax shaming. It's extortion. So now we're going to keep it closed until we reach vaccination levels. Once we get to one level, we'll open up the restaurants a little bit. Once we get to the next level, we'll open up kids' sports again. Once we get to another level, we'll open up the ballparks. And then when we get to the level of 70%, it's all open. What is that?
It's confusing, first of all.
It's extortion, Charlie. That's what it is. That's what you said it is. Like, how does that work and why does that work? So you're going to shame and make everybody so fearful that you encourage them to get one of the 3 and or 4 vaccines that are available. No, that's not the way to reopen. That's not following science. That's not making any sense.
I remember when people wouldn't wear masks and they spit on each other and slap each other in the gas station.
Well, you know, Karen, to quote one of our late departed friends, Cliff Russell, you can't make sense out of nonsense. That's not the way to encourage people to.
And people still don't. Charlie, this is the other thing. I just came back from a trip. I saw a lady pull her mask down to sneeze. I saw a young lady who was preparing a smoothie. Yeah, she had on a mask, but her braids were long, and they were so long that they kept falling over into the eye. Just, there are things that we continue to do that are just nasty, that don't make sense, COVID or not. I mean, we got to rethink how we function. People are nasty.
It's over.
They are.
For all intents and purposes, it's over. And the fact is, at some point, you got to let people live. I mean, at what point? Because now it's a law of diminishing returns. People have lost businesses. People have lost jobs. People have lost almost everything. So at what point do you just use some damn common sense and say, you know, these are the people that got vaccinated and these are the people that didn't? And
but Ralph, this is the thing. I don't mean to interrupt you, but the vaccination and you say follow the science. The vaccine will not prevent you from transmitting it. It will not prevent you from getting it again. I mean, so what does it prevent you from doing? It won't prevent you from getting it. It won't prevent you from being reinfected, and it won't prevent you from transmitting it.
I call bullshit on that. I call bullshit on that.
Is that the call of the day?
All right. Well, that's what your Dr. Fauci said.
It does prevent you from getting it for a period.
Right.
It doesn't last forever.
Okay.
We don't know about transmission, but my wife's had a couple of tests now after having it, being exposed to me and my daughter, and didn't get it.
Right.
So I don't know. I just don't know about the policy.
That's my part. The policy.
Does.
It's the policy, because the policy makes no sense. Because number one, what's the incentive to get the vaccine if I am still bound by everything else that I had before the vaccine? But then you threaten me and say, if I don't get the vaccine, then I'm not going to open these things up. I mean, none of it follows a good rationale, a scientific rationale. It's political expediency right now. And that is the rule of the day. What makes political sense? What can I get a good poll from? And if that's the answer, then that's the damn answer politicians are going with.
Wow. Now, I don't want to put you guys in a box, but I would say you're probably a blue-collar Democrat type guy, right?
I think that's fair to say.
And I'd say Karen is an elegant, fur-wearing, limousine liberal Democrat whose carriage turns into a pumpkin at midnight. But I would...
Don't forget I'm a member of AEI. Give me credit now.
She's of a conservative think tank.
Yes.
So this isn't some kind of Republican screed. This is just the people talking. So anybody out there like thinking we're hating,
right?
We're not hating.
And full disclosure, I got both vaccines.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to let people in a democratic, free society do what the hell is best for you based on your research. Yep. So I got it. If you don't get it, that's your choice. You made a decision. When do we lose the power of choice? That's the problem I have with this whole conversation.
Well, now I understand the people out there thinking, look, we got to keep it safe. You're right. We did it. I know I did it.
I mean, I've worn a mask. I've been in the house. You know, I've done everything. And fortunately, I have not caught it. However,
I couldn't watch my brother draw his last breath.
That's
not because I'm not going to sit in a hospital.
That's the humanity.
And expose people potentially or raise a scene. I'm going to do what's asked of me, not because, listen, you mask holes that won't, do your part. Also, I'm a leader. I'm a grown man. I'm going to do what's asked of me and what we consider to be right. If it wasn't right in the end, that's fine.
Right. And that's the point, Charlie. That's the beauty of what this country espouses to be. I get a choice in this thing. Now, understandably, when the pandemic first hit, we didn't know anything about this thing. Shut everything down. But the more we learn the science is not matching up with the politics.
And the numbers aren't matching up with the deaths.
There you go.
Which I'm in negotiations with the Attorney General on that lawsuit about those nursing home numbers. So stay tuned. It's going to be some big news. I don't want to talk about what we're negotiating because I don't want
breaking news.
I don't want to affect it.
Yeah.
Soon.
But there's movement. That's good.
Because I'm not taking it. We shouldn't take it. It's a goddamn democracy. Right?
Allegedly.
But I'll tell you what, I'm not telling you to do one thing and I'm doing another.
Right. And that's the thing. You lead by example. If you firmly believe what you believe, you lead by example. And then you give people the adult opportunity to make a choice for themselves.
Wallet Hub did a new study. Wallet Hub does a lot of studies. Safest states during COVID-19 throughout the whole pandemic. They compared 50 states across 5 key metrics. That includes the rate of transmission, positive testing, hospitalizations and death, as well as the share of eligible population getting vaccinated. Okay. So before we say Michigan won't get vaccinated, on the vaccination list, we're 30th. So we're about in the middle there. So this wouldn't really sway where we rank. So when you put all that together, where do you think we rank on the list, Ralph?
And I'm scared to guess.
Safest being number 1, least safest being 50. And as I always say,
let me give you a hint, Ralph. If there's one thing I've learned when Charlie brings up something like this,
closer to 50.
Go to the end.
Yeah.
Start at the end and work your way up. It's sort of like, let me give you another one.
Let's go 45.
Nope. I mean, be serious. I mean, 45.
No, I'm just.
Oh, you're being serious?
I'm being serious.
Oh. No, we're 50th.
50.
Fifth, bottom.
Yeah.
At the bottom.
51st when you include DC, too.
At the bottom.
Yeah, we didn't even beat DC.
And it's interesting if you look at their metrics, too, and I don't know how
Hold on, I'm not done with this.
Oh, okay. Wow. How can one man crumble?
Bullshit.
So does that mean we lose statehood and DC get statehood?
We'll trade them.
Is this the state trade?
What is going on? We lost everything.
Yeah.
And there's another study of the top 180 cities who's bounced back the quickest, one being the top and 180 being the bottom. Where do you think Detroit is?
Did you learn the lesson, Ralph? I'm going to guess 180.
180. Let's just stick with the.
No, it's this 163, but that's no good. Ralph knows because he used to be chief of police, and every year the FBI crime stats would come. He'd be like, God damn it, we're the most violent again. Did that used to suck?
Well, I moved us down, so.
To 2?
To 2 or 3 or 4. No, actually, we were out of the top 5 when I was chief. If my memory is correct.
Your memory's bad, bro.
Yeah, it is. However,
we didn't have no money.
Yeah, we didn't have money. See, but that's where, and Karen, you can attest to this. We did not get nearly enough credit for what we did with no money.
Okay, pause it there. We're coming to that. Yeah. That's the deep part.
Yep.
You hear that? I mean, he's coming with it. I'm excited about that. Mm-hmm. But first, just to finish the COVID, I was in Tucker Carlson last night, right, on Fox. And we're talking about Whitmer's trip to Florida, right? Right? And leaders should lead.
Right.
Like, I know you got a dad. I don't know if he's sick. We don't know anything, right? But I, again, have a brother-in-law who died. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to say the only 10 at the funeral. You want to say goodbye. He's already passed.
Right.
And we listened. Come on. Okay. So anyway, here's the deal. I'm calling bullshit. Remember, Whitmer still won't tell us when she went, where she went, what time, who paid for the flight, and what airplane you took. Who did it belong to?
Transparency at its finest.
Okay.
Is what she ran on.
And they're quoting security concerns. Mm-hmm. Security concerns. Okay. Well, I talked to the Florida State Police, trying to find out when the airplane landed. They're going to provide executive protection,
right?
As is customary, right?
It's customary. That, as a matter of fact, it's an expectation. Any governor, mayor of a major city, when you go into somebody else's jurisdiction, it is proper protocol to make sure that that executive protection detail knows that you're coming. Then transversely, they offer some support if you want it. If you don't, that's fine. And then because of, some cross-jurisdictional things, if you're carrying in somebody else's state, you don't just show up in somebody else's state with your gun. So there are a number of different issues that you have to sort out, because if something happens to that principal in another jurisdiction,
Right.
How in the hell do you let that governor know, oops, oh, by the way, I was in your state? Well, it's only 50 of them. It's only 50 people that hold that position.
Right.
And they're the most powerful people in the country.
So what you're saying is like, what happens if a band of rednecks decided to kidnap you and you're in Florida?
Right. And then, oops, oh, by the way, help. That's just not, come on.
So why didn't you notify the state police?
But how do you keep a visit secret then? Right?
Yeah, okay,
'Cause
so-
you don't want people to know about it.
So now here's the thing. This comes out. We dug up the old podcast. It was a couple weeks ago. Just the COO, the one in charge of putting out the shots, and forgot to order the 360,000 shots.
Yes.
Is down in Margaritaville partying, and it's the day before it's the very day I find out that the health director goes down to the Gulf Coast to Margaritaville.
Unvaxxed? Was she the one that was unvaxxed?
She wasn't fully vaxxed. The
not
governor
fully
herself wasn't vaxxed at all. What the protocols?
Big key
I'm trying to do the protocols.
Yep. Key point.
So here's the podcast.
I did the protocols.
This is courtesy of MERS.
Yes, thank you, MERS.
So I was able to get a few days off. Were you able to get a few days off? Have you had any days off for the last year? That's the question I want to know. It seems like you've been on for an entire year.
Yeah, like most people on my team, I mean, we've been working 14 months without much of a break. My daughter had spring break. I didn't do much of anything. You saw me. I was here in town the whole time, but it's the weather's getting nicer, so I'm moving some of my Zoom calls outside. That's the most exciting development.
If you could go anywhere for spring break, where would you have gone?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. My first big trip as governor, and the last trip I've taken was to Israel, and that was an incredible opportunity to showcase what's going on in Michigan, to sign some memorandums of understanding. And
her last trip,
my family came over.
Her last trip was to Israel in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Red flag here. Didn't we see her at the inauguration?
Yep.
Wasn't that a trip?
Yep.
Okay, and didn't you know right at that time, Madam Governor, that you had gone to Florida to see your old man before you told us to stay away from Florida? You don't remember that? This is bullshit.
So, Charlie, real quick, let me kick the tires on a counter argument. Now, from a security executive protection standpoint, off-the-record movements are the safest, because nobody knows where you're at.
That's awesome.
So, however, that really applies to you're on a campaign stump and you stop at American Coney Island and don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I get that.
It doesn't really, the spirit of it doesn't go into a whole different damn state.
Let's just stop here.
But I bring that up because that's going to be the counter argument. I'm telling you now.
I know the counter argument,
okay.
But here's the thing. When you're a servant leader, that's what you are in America. You eat last.
You set the example.
You leave the burning building last. You're the first one in.
And
That's what every high school football captain knows this.
That's what you signed
You
up
don't
for.
go down to Florida. We had a little wake.
Has she been up north at all? I mean, that's, something she talked about earlier. Does anybody know if she's taking any trips up north?
I don't really care about it. I just remember like a year ago, she announced that there was a travel lockdown. We couldn't go to our fishing shacks, remember?
Yep.
And now you come out and say there was never a travel ban? This is the problem with modern society and the media. You're sitting there asking the questions, and you don't remember writing the story about we can't leave, but people from Chicago can come here?
Charlie, one of our listeners also reminded us, Pam is reminding us that she also went to Delaware, remember, to meet with Biden before he made his official VP announcement.
Yeah,
so that was
there's
a second
that
trip.
one. Well, you good one. What a smart audience. Thank you. Forgot about that. Where she just don't consider me anymore, Joe, for VP.
I bow out gracefully.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Care to hear more lies?
No, I'm
done with it?
Yeah, I'm done
That's
with
fine.
it, man. Okay, so look, here's the thing. So now I get people going, oh, you're on Tucker's show. What's wrong with LeDuff? He's changing. He's changing. Right? Tucker's an animal. Look, I'll talk to anybody. Anybody. And if you think I'm some kind of right-wing tool, remember you used to think I was a left-wing tool back during the election when I said there was no fraud? Remember that? You ask Schwarzenegger about me, Giuliani, Trump. Ask him about me. Snyder. I killed Snyder. Remember in 2016 when the Flint crisis is out and Snyder's like the water's safe to drink.
Right.
In fact, I'm going to fill up some milk jugs and I'm going to drink it for 30 days. Not like he was going to bathe in it, right?
Exactly.
What?
The picture's up.
The picture's up for those watching. There he is. He's in Flint. He's filling up his weekly supply of water. I'm going to drink it. Well, the fucking asshole, you know what he did 5 days later? He gets on a jet and he's heading to the Alps and he forgot the water. I screamed that asshole. Man, his own health crisis, man-made, mind you.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the leaders? Come back and get it. And you know what the excuse was? Oh, I'm going to make it up when I get back. I mean, it couldn't clear customs. You know why? Because you're not allowed to take radioactive material over international lines.
That is typically a problem.
Where's the justice? That's it, folks. See, so that's the thing. Stop doing that. This is just called reporting. I'm an umpire. I call the balls and the strikes. This is some bullshit.
But see, Charlie, that's journalistic integrity. So let me full disclosure. When I screwed my life up, Charlie LeDuff was a very fair reporter. He asked the right questions.
What'd you do?
I retired.
No, what did you do to screw up your life?
No, I had an extramarital affair, and it was inappropriate.
With a copper?
With a cop.
She put a gun in her mouth. She was so angry.
Yeah, she
tweeted it.
Tweeted it. But I thanked Charlie, which a lot of people don't know, privately, because I was going through PTSD, going through depression, going through alcoholism. My family was falling apart. So where I was rising, a rising star politically, my life was in the toilet. And if not for a real reporter asking questions to expose the truth, I wouldn't be sitting here today, recovered from addiction, recovered from a lot of things. My daughter is my best friend. I'm a grandfather. My life is amazing now. And that's what,
my man,
but we have to get back to a morality in this country where right is right and wrong is wrong. And when you're wrong, you got to accept it and hold yourself accountable and do something about it. Get your life together.
It's funny, I mean, I like you and I admire you. And now we can say it because you're out of the business. We're friends.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And when Iana Stanley Jones was shot, the little girl, and killed by your own police department, we would meet. Yep. I think I can say this now. Right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And I found you to be a very honest and forthright and conscientious servant. And so when all that shit was happening, it was really hard to do.
No, and
I live a life too. It's hard.
But see, that's the thing in our modern politics. We got to stop getting mad at people reporting what we do.
You don't have to worry about that anymore because nobody's reporting.
No, well, that's true. But in general, and I think that's what we've lost. And Charlie, that's why you'll be my friend for life, is because you call balls balls and strikes strikes. People judge integrity by whether you cuss or not, whether you drink or not. That's not integrity. Integrity is if you can look in the mirror and wake up every day and do right by people. That's integrity.
Drinking beer and whiskey and cussing is culture.
It's culture.
Integrity is integrity.
Integrity is integrity. Absolutely.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We have some breaking news, I believe. Mark, do we? We have breaking news. Jimmy Patronis, the chief operating officer of the great state of Florida, is about to deliver a public service announcement to Gretchen Whitmer and the citizens of the great state of Michigan. We now take you live to Tallahassee for this exclusive announcement from Chief Patronis. Sir, the floor is yours.
Dear Governor Whitmer, with recent media reports that you and your chief operations officer separately visited the great state of Florida, I want to take the liberty to provide you and your whole entire team materials from Visit Florida, our state's official marketing brand for future visits. Included with this letter, I've attached a summary of our promotional materials to help plan your next visit. As both you and your COO know from personal experience, Florida is safe for travel. With over 8 million Floridians fully vaccinated, unlike a lot of other states, Florida is safe and open for business. The fact that Florida has a lower mortality rate than other lockdown states like New York, indeed, our governor successfully balanced the coronavirus with keeping our small businesses open. No doubt many of your fellow Michiganders have traveled to the Sunshine State this year, and we proudly welcome them. Moreover, like yourself, many of your constituents have loved ones in the state of Florida they have not seen in some time. I know members of your team are telling you, downplay your recent trip to Florida. Don't listen to them. Now that you and your COO have personally experienced what the Sunshine State has to offer, I encourage you to share your experiences, share them publicly, and moreover, however, come back frequently. Sincerely, Jimmy Patronis, Chief Financial Officer, State of Florida.
That was great.
Jimmy.
That was fun.
Somebody said that's an SNL skit right there.
But that's really the treasurer of Florida right there. I mean, they call him the CFO, but there he is.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Okay. Hey Jimmy,
My flight tomorrow.
Jimmy, we're off the air now, bro. Why the fuck did you write that?
Did I write it? Well, actually.
Wait a minute, we're really on the air. I'm just fucking with you. No, why'd you write it?
Look, at the end of the day, I'm like you. Call balls and strikes. You know what? I think when you put your name on the ballot, you got to hold yourself to a higher level. And you can't do this, say one thing, do another. So when I see other elected officials, living, two lives, right is right and wrong is wrong, your constituents that elected you should know that, you know what, you're a little bit of a fraud. So, you know what, come out, be real, and do right by your citizens of your state. That's what we do every day in the great state of Florida.
Woo! I think he just called Whitmer a fraud. Is that what did you hear that?
That's why she needs security in Florida.
Hey, Jimmy.
Sir.
You're a big wig there. You're one of the top executives of the great state of Florida. And it is a great state except for the flying cockroaches in the summer, but you can't have everything. Did the governor reach out to the state police and ask for at least let you know that she's crossing the jurisdiction?
So to my knowledge, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement reports to the Florida Cabinet. I'm a member of the Florida Cabinet. To my knowledge, there was no outreach of notice or inquiry on behalf of Governor Whitmer to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
And as Ralph was saying, that's not a customary thing.
Well, so here's what I know. The governor of the great state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, whenever he travels, he has a security detail that goes with him wherever he goes in the state, even if it's through a drive-through to get a hamburger. So whenever they travel anywhere, that security detail is with him simply because he is one of 50 governors, and a governor is the single most powerful, influential executive in the state of Florida. It's no different than what Governor Whitmer is to the citizens of the state of Michigan.
So speaking of power, our governor exercised a lot of it and actually grabbed some power that our Supreme Court found to be unconstitutional. Your state handled it sort of gloves off. So how do you explain the radical difference? I measure COVID like this. How many people died? It's like crime, Ralph. It's not how many burglaries. It's how many murders.
Exactly.
It's how many lives. Why does Florida have less deaths per capita than Michigan? We're both peninsulas.
So here's what I do know. I still have the text on my phone where I had an exchange with the FEMA administrator back in January when the first case popped up at Texas A&M. And he said, yes, we're starting to see cases. So I also get to be the state fire marshal of the state. So I traveled the state. I was in Pensacola, Jacksonville, Gainesville, Tallahassee, Orlando. And these first responders, God love them. These guys, they take 911 calls 24/7, 365. But as I am asking them if they're prepared, they've all got pandemic training. They're used to putting somebody infected in a buggy and taking them to the hospital and then flipping that ambulance to get it back in circulation 20 minutes later with an autoclave. But you know what they said, we're worried about PPE. We're worried about having enough of it. So what we started to do is we started ramping up our requests for PPE. And Governor DeSantis, God love him, he stressed that. We got, PPE in those hands of those first responders. But more importantly, unlike in New York, Governor DeSantis shut down our nursing homes. He would not allow anybody from the outside get in to a face-to-face environment with that most vulnerable population. And then he led by making sure all of our seniors were vaccinated first. Not all other states did
that.
Jimmy.
Pause.
Started
Jimmy.
Prioritizing our seniors. So
Jimmy.
It's on a roll.
Jimmy.
Mortality rate.
Jimmy.
With the state
Can't stop him.
Jimmy. Did your governor commingle people in the nursing homes? Did they bring infected people from the hospital in the nursing homes where there were uninfected people?
No, he did not, Charlie. And you're spot on. Where in the case of New York, they tried to get somebody who was not vulnerable and put them back into the nursing home to try to free up hospital beds. Governor DeSantis simply made sure that our seniors were unfortunately isolated off, but it was for their own health and safety. And we did unique things. Loved ones got to see their loved ones through windows, through plexiglass, through VisQueen, you name it, until vaccines were made available.
Well, we did all that, but the point is we tried to isolate seniors. We brought more in, and nobody bothered to look to see if the nursing homes were actually doing it.
Right.
And now we don't have an accurate count.
And Florida has 26% of our populations over the age of 65, us and Arizona go back and forth. So we knew that population was the most vulnerable in the state, and Governor DeSantis led by protecting that population.
Florida took a lot of shit early on, too, how they rolled out the vaccine just by pretty much, I think it was anybody over 65. I can't remember exactly. How are vaccinations going now in the state of Florida?
So I got my second shot earlier this week. We basically, anybody over the age of 16 who wants a vaccination in Florida can get one now. The vaccination site here in Tallahassee that I went through, they were doing thousands.
Jimmy, you only got 8 million people vaccinated.
Every Walgreens will be able to get the shot.
You're doing about as well as Michigan on the vaccination tip here. But that's okay. Look, last question. Florida has about 130 million tourists a year.
Right.
Can you believe that the pure Michigan people are reporting that we have 125 million tourists a year? Do we really have the same amount of tourists as Florida? It's cold. There's no Disneyland. We didn't got Cedar Point. You got to go to Ohio. So
I would call, what do you call that?
Here, it's called scratch and sniff.
Yes.
Smelled like bullshit to me, man.
Smells like.
But here's what's going on, Jimmy. I want you to know this. That during the shutdown, the state of Michigan, Whitmer, budgeted $15 million for our Pure Michigan campaign last year, right? We started running ads in December to encourage people to come here during the COVID. Right. We were running commercials in Florida, say come up to Michigan, and we're all locked in our house. So my question is, Jimmy, you want to come visit us in Michigan?
You know what I'll do? I want to go to the Henry Ford Auto Museum. That's what I want to do. I want to come to the Detroit Auto Show. That's what I want to do. But when I saw the Pure Michigan ads in Florida where I live. I thought it was a bottled water company. I thought it was some type of new, bottled water coming from, Lake Superior or something.
All right, Jimmy, I know you got to get back and pretty much do nothing, being the bureaucrat that you are. But
thank you very much.
Hold on, Jimmy. Our mutual friend just said, I hear you and Charlie are talking to my good friend, Jimmy Patronis, doing a little thing today. Love you all. Hope you're well. So he just sent me a text.
Who did?
Awesome.
Well, name drop it.
Who did?
I didn't know there was
they're not gonna tell us.
Michigan until I met y'all. This is great. I got to, you give me a whole other reason why to come.
Wait, who?
Come on,
wait,
we'll
who?
show you a good time.
Who sent the text? Who do you guys know in common? That's weird.
Sir?
Karen, who sent the text?
Kid Rock.
Oh, Kid Rock.
Here, oh my.
Oh, well. Yeah, he took off for Tennessee, didn't he?
He
That's
did.
where he went.
So it was funny. So Charlie, when I was listening to your podcast, I said, shit, I feel like I'm listening to Kid. So, I reached out to him, and anyway, he's a big fan. And then you're telling me he's a big fan of Karen. So anyway, y'all have got a new friend in Florida, and I hope you'll come down and pay us a visit. We'll show you a good time.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Appreciate y'all.
Thanks for your time,
Thanks.
brother. There he goes. There goes the treasurer of Florida calling the governor of Michigan a fraud. How about that, Vice? That's not bad.
Ooh, boy. Ooh.
Heard it here first.
Charlie, I watch Vice News at night. I love Vice News.
A bunch of hipster pinkos.
I do. I love it. I watch it every
What's
night.
great is the film crew, the producers from New York, and the film crew is local. So Vice does know how to do it.
Yeah.
Good.
Got Brandon, Andrew. The sound guy's Andrew, right? And Anthony LePay is the producer. Good to have you in town, man. Hey, would you mind reading Luke Nowacki's copy?
Let me see.
Well,
let me see what I
Can we
can do
we
here.
could cue up away from the music? There you go.
If you're not among the ruling elite who can make your pals' pockets fat off the taxpayer's back, if you actually work for a living, you're going to have to provide for your own retirement and theirs. If you have questions whether you're right on the track, call financial specialist Luke Nowacki at 248-663-6748. Grow your assets from annuities to individual retirement accounts to college saving plans to good old stocks and bonds. Make the call now. Your politicians and your children are depending on you. Luke Nowacki, 248-663-4748.
Try reading that disclaimer as fast.
Oh, securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates Inc.
It's that radio experience.
Radio
kicking back in,
experience,
Ralph.
yes. It's like riding a bike.
After all, they're talking about the Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated.
Leave that on for a minute. Ralph Godbee has served as a Detroit police officer for 25 years. He climbed through the ranks of command until he was appointed the city's top cop in 2010, a position he held for over 2 years.
Over 2 years.
He went on to head the Detroit Public Schools Police Department until, did you resign or retire?
Retired.
You retired?
Yep, September of 2020.
A long life of service and policing in one of the roughest cities in America. He's a professor of criminology.
Adjunct professor, Wayne County Community College. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, he had to get that in.
Professorial.
Right. Godbee's working on a new book, How to Restructure Policing in America, How to Reimagine It, which he calls inherently racist institutions, American policing. So, Ralph, thanks for joining us. If I put it correctly, that's a first question. We'll just go from here.
Let's just jump
That's
into
a
it.
hell of a thing to say. So the first question is, what do you think your colleagues in blue are thinking when you say that, especially when an institution is only an idea?
I've gotten some nasty DMs, I'll put it that way, from anonymous cops. But, and I think this is where we have to stop parsing the conversation. We spend way too much time trying to figure out whether an officer is racist or not. And I set that predicate by saying it this way. If you look at Freddie Gray in Baltimore, when he was murdered by the police.
When they took him for a ride.
Took him for a ride.
Came back with a broken back.
Came back with a broken neck in two places, broken back, and he basically suffocated because he was unable to breathe. Half of those officers were black. One of the most notorious offenders in Detroit history, Sergeant Eugene Brown, shot multiple African Americans in Detroit. Couldn't get him fired, couldn't get him retired. I finally got him fired on, you wouldn't believe it, for fudging on overtime. African American. When I was chief of police and we started tracking citizen complaints and the number of who led to city and citizen complaints, an African American officer who subsequently was fired for a federal charge. So I don't say that to besmirch African American officers. I say that to say that we police in a racist system. And I don't care how noble your intent is. Because I would say to a person, when I joined the police department in 1987 at 19 years old, I had these notions of saving my neighborhood and ridding it from drugs and bad people and gangs and fighting the war on drugs. You know, all that, you know, pie in the sky, you know, over the rainbow BS. But I meant it. I felt that. I thought that's what I was doing. I want to show young people, you know, a young black man can be a cop and you can make money without selling dope. You know, all the noble things. And I would venture to say, black or white, red or yellow, most good American people that join police departments, they join with the noblest of intentions. With the caveat, we know the FBI has already told us, and you don't need the FBI to tell me, that white supremacists have infiltrated the ranks of police departments years ago, and they still do. Take that group out. We know they're horrible people. They're, you know, there's a special place in hell for folks like that. But the history of policing, and this goes to my criminology, I didn't know this until I started teaching in college criminology, that slave patrols were the first organized police departments in the United States of America, enforcing the slave codes. So the premise of American policing was built on controlling black and brown behavior through fear, violence, and intimidation. And then from the majority population, white America's perspective, police officers, they protect and serve. So when we have the conversation about policing without those two different lenses, white America's like, we love our cops. They're great. You know, they put their lives on the line. And contrary to popular belief, most black people are conservative in their thinking. If you really dig down with a black person, you ask them certain questions, they affiliate with Democrats because they tend to support issues that are more favorable to black and brown people. But we're ostensibly very conservative people. We support the police. We believe in the police. We law and order. We go to church. We, you know, all those things that are the counter narrative to what's said about black people. But when you look at that as the fundamental basis of policing, let's be honest, from slave patrols to Reconstruction, from Reconstruction to Jim Crow, from Jim Crow to the Civil Rights era, from the Civil Rights era to
White flight.
What has really changed about policing except we enforce slave codes with a smile? We give platitudes like community policing, which there's not a damn cop in America that can really define what community policing is.
I'll tell you what community policing is. It's called a beat cop.
It's a beat cop.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And that is
Disappeared with the car.
That's the intent of policing. If you go back to Sir Robert Peel and the 9 Peelian principles for policing, which says basically the people are the police and the police are the people. The only difference is police get paid to do what the citizen is supposed to do anyway. But we've migrated to this system of law enforcement and policing, and there are two different ways that policing is done in America. Legally, I can go on Mac and Bewick, and because it's a, you know, for those...
We always talk about Mac and Bewick on this show.
It's always Mac and Bewick. Okay, Linwood and Philadelphia. We can do it on the west side. Linwood, Philadelphia, Mac and Bewick. Brightmoor. And because of the geography, because of the demography, because of the crime stats, I can legally go in those neighborhoods and stop anybody for any damn thing I want because I can articulate it as a high crime area. And the Supreme Court has affirmed...
Is that true?
...my ability to do that, absolutely.
So just known to be a high crime area.
That's all I need.
That's all you need.
I can pull Charlie LeDuff over and say, you over there buying dope, aren't you? Because you're a white guy that don't fit in this. See, it works both ways. You're a white guy, and you don't fit in this neighborhood. But it inures horribly towards the treatment of black and brown people. So you cannot use that same standard in Grosse Pointe. You cannot use that same standard in Royal Oak. You can't use that same standard in Ferndale.
So then what do they use? You said there's a second prong. I think I guessed
second prong.
So what do they use over 8 Mile or over Alter Road? What is the police trick on that one?
So the police trick on that is if I look at the Michigan Vehicle Code, I can stop any black person I want to in a car. and there's something in that Michigan Vehicle Code, I guarantee you I can find that they've transgressed. So what I've done is now I've supported the pretext for my stop.
Let's do the pretext, and you're talking about broken taillight.
Broken taillight.
Expired tabs.
Expired tabs.
Something hanging from your rearview mirror.
Hanging air freshener from your mirror.
Really?
Yeah, really. Now, if I do that on Mac and Bewick, okay, I'm starting now. I'm working backwards. Because there are some things I can presuppose, and just based on demographics, just based on socioeconomics, I can pretty much tell you who doesn't have car insurance. So now I got a misdemeanor. I can tell you pretty much who the car isn't registered.
The rolling stop.
The rolling stop through the stop sign. You know, just those things.
Why are you stopping? Like, why are they doing that in Detroit? Is it looking for guns?
They're looking for guns, looking for dope. So now, and see, this is the dirty little secret, Charlie. Traffic enforcement in its inception was supposed to be for education and correction. We figured out as cops how to get into people's cars, into their trunks, because number one, reasonable suspicion can get us inside the car. Officer safety, Terry stop, pat down and frisk. Now that's extended to the interior of the vehicle. So I can now articulate all these things. So the unfettered discretion that police officers can use to decide who they want to stop and decide how they want to take a civil infraction and use that civil infraction to go backwards.
To cascade.
To cascade.
Now, let me ask you this. You say something really strong here, that institutionally. It needs to be torn down.
It needs to be torn down.
Okay, so what's really going on under the badge? Why?
So let me give you.
What's the hard on to arrest?
Let me give you a couple of
black
reasons
people
why.
And put them in jail. Why?
Well, number one, easy targets because of implicit bias, racism, perceptions in the media. But let me take it. It's not even that deep. We have to change the compensation system for law enforcement. So, Charlie,
Say it again.
We have to change the compensation system for law enforcement. So, if I'm behind on my bills, I write enough tickets, I'm going to court. If I go to court, that's extra pay. If I get extra pay, I can pay those bills if I'm living beyond my means. You cannot have a profit motive tied to enforcement, number one. Then number two, you look at Ferguson. When the DOJ went in, they found out that the courts were being funded off of the back of those that could least afford it, which are black and brown people in impoverished areas. So that is not unique to Ferguson. They just did the deep dive in Ferguson.
Is that done in Detroit?
That's done in Detroit. Civil asset forfeiture.
As far up to when you left.
Oh no, it was done when I was there.
Right.
That's the systems, and that's
you never stopped.
So you bring up
wait, you never stopped.
Never stopped it. And let me show you. You couldn't. So let me.
You wanted to stop it, and you
wanted to stop it, but couldn't. And this is the reason why the system has to be completely torn down and built up from scratch. There are 18,000 police departments in the United States of America. So that means that's 18,000 different chiefs, 18,000 different mayors, city manager, township folks, or whatever leads those areas. So if I got a good chief in Detroit, give Detroit the benefit of the doubt. Got the greatest chief on the planet, does everything right. I mean, damn it, we nailed it. We got the best chief. But then you got Dearborn, you got Ferndale, you got Southfield, you got Oak Park, you got Wayne County Sheriff. I mean, and it multiplies. So 18,000 different police agencies. So just because your chief gets it right doesn't mean that the system gets it right. So that's why fundamentally for there ever to be equity in policing in the United States for black and brown and poor people. And I bring that up for this.
You're bringing in white people.
Exactly. Because in aggregate, and this is the other part, in aggregate, there are more white people killed by police than black people. Now, disproportionately, we're what, 25, 30% of police killings, 40%?
Let's do easy numbers. Whites are about half the population. There's 60, but we just go half the people killed are white, and whites are about 50. Blacks are 10% and 30% of the deaths.
Exactly.
And Latinos are 20, and they're 20% of the deaths.
So
it's really the black people taking that shit end of the stick.
Yes.
But all the people being dropped, you can bet there's only like one rich guy in there.
Absolutely. That's the key. So now you can make the argument that it's it's class and it's social, and it is. But this is where it gets sticky with police work. I can improve my class as a white American. I can't take off my black skin. So that's why you still have like the lieutenant in Virginia that was put
wait. You can improve your class as a white person, but you can also improve your class as a black person.
You can, but I'm still black. That part I can't change.
Would you want to? Or
find a gun or dope.
Or raise some money.
Raise some money. So that's why we got to fundamentally change the way we do police work.
Let me do this. Let's talk bread.
Okay.
More bread you got, the less shit you taste.
That's it.
The less shit, less cops you need.
Less cops you need.
I'm looking at Detroit, and I'm seeing the biggest public works project going in southeastern Michigan is what?
A jail.
A super jail.
A super jail. A criminal justice center.
That's and the last jail we bulldozed because I caught it.
Yep.
In a wave of corruption, and we bulldozed $400 million.
Absolutely. Just down the toilet.
Now I ran down a mugger. Took my friend's phone.
Yeah.
Chased him down. You know, he's a 4 striker.
Right.
And he got 3 to 15.
Okay.
And I coming out of the court, and I'm like, 3 to 15. We got him on a bus to Jackson. Right. Guy's like, what'd you win for him? A purple cell phone.
That's it.
I go, this fucking clown got 3 to 15, and I look at this, where the super jail was going to be.
Right.
They bulldozed it. Nobody did a day.
Not one day.
I wrote, there's somewhere, it was lunchtime.
Yeah.
They're having a steak and a glass of Burgundy.
Yes.
Laughing all the way.
To the bank.
Fucking bank.
All the way. So the system is fundamentally broke. So all the platitudes of the, George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, nice. But
bullshit.
But it's not going to work. It's not going to change the fundamental dynamics on the ground on Mack and Bewick, on Linwood and Philadelphia, the engagement strategies that police use in black and brown communities. Until you fundamentally, because this is how you, this is real simple. This is how you stop police from killing unarmed black folks. Less police encounters.
So, less hunting.
Less hunting.
Just get them when they're doing bad shit.
Exactly.
Leave it.
And it's just that simple.
Leave it. That's
that simple.
Pretty fucking deep.
You don't, because
it was.
Listen to this.
The stop and frisk in New York. That's
exactly,
what it is.
exactly. Now listen to this. So if I'm a cop and I fear for my life, and I think this traffic stop for running a stop sign is that dangerous, I didn't ask you to stop me. You decided to stop me. So you create your own danger, because we always say traffic stops are one of the most dangerous things that can happen, and that's true. But you can't create your own danger, articulate your own danger at my behest, and kill me and then say, oops. When you stopped me, I didn't stop you. And what you stopped me for was nothing that was that critical that had to be taking place at that time. So with George Floyd, for instance, let's presuppose it was a counterfeit $20 bill. Local police, state police, they don't investigate.
Wait, do we really have to do this?
Yeah,
I don't want to relitigate the shit, because anybody with a reasonable mind, I didn't give a fuck if he was resistant.
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't resistant at the end, Ralph.
Exactly.
Period.
But I want to give people a reasonable alternative to what the officers did, because they always say, "Well,
call the paddy wagon."
No, we can take it a step. Let's before we even
just get to it. Don't give me the preamble.
Before we get there,
we all been living it. Don't give me the build up.
Okay. Before we get
should they have done different?
So if I'm the responding officer, I take the fake $20 bill, I put it on evidence. I identify George Floyd. I put his name in the police report. I turn it over to the Secret Service, and if they find the case, they get a warrant and go get him.
Okay. Yep. Here, see it. That's what it was.
George Floyd's still alive.
And I'm using the shorthand, which is, it was bullshit. Why the cop got to do anything? You go like this. Get the fuck out.
So that was a $28 million traffic stop.
Oh, no, and
so what could that $28 million have gone for in the community?
It wasn't it. Why you say $28 million?
That was a settlement.
Okay, but
for the
then,
family.
But then, okay, then there is all the outrage afterwards.
Yep.
There's all the smashing and grabbing.
Yeah.
It was.
So 28 is the floor.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
28 is the floor.
Not to mention he didn't have a life.
And the cost of the trial. And again, and then loss of life. We're making this way too complicated, Charlie.
I think you made it. Let me do this, and then we're going to move on.
Okay.
Because I could do it all day long.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I encourage other media outlets. I know I pick on you and I make fun of you. He's open for business. This is the guy you talk to. This you have him on your programs. You hear this? It's real simple. Less punitive, stop hunting. And then we'll build it from there.
And we'll go from there.
Stop the shakedown.
Yeah, stop the shakedown.
You know, he was Detroit police chief. That's what they were doing. He says it. There's nothing he could do to stop it because you did have quotas.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck.
And
That's fucking news because we don't have any bread anymore.
Right.
Well, the cops are always doing.
Now, we can't legally call them quotas. So this is.
Now, I know you can call them quotas.
No, I can call them quotas. But this is what it is. So if you're Officer A, I'm Officer B. You write 20 tickets, I write 0, then I'm going to get punished for performance because I'm not meeting the standard of other officers.
They call them standards.
Standards, or productivity. So
and the cops don't want to do that either.
Most of them don't. Now you have some that have a hard on this. They love writing tickets, but again, they go to court. They get paid.
I once went to one of those Officer of the Year banquets. This was for the chief homicide detective.
Yeah.
Carlisle.
Oh, yeah.
He solved a lot of homicides.
Oh, yeah,
that's what we want done.
Oh, exactly. That's the guy you want.
Yeah,
that's
but
the guy
you want guys to prevent a couple homicides.
Oh,
that
no,
would be nice too.
Unequivocally.
So I remember, dude goes up there for his award. He wrote 2,322 tickets in a year.
In a year.
God.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, look at all the money it brought in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and as Ralph will attest, that guy ain't going to pay the ticket.
Yeah.
Then he's got a warrant for not paying the ticket. Then he got another ticket.
And then you create criminals.
Yes. And then you got guys driving around with no license.
No license.
And I could pull you over. You ain't registered. See? Oh, and we got to fix the drunk driving shit.
Exactly. So those are all the things that complicate this thing so much. But when you over-enforce and you over-police and you infiltrate communities, you create criminals. And that's what we do.
Last one. Back when you were this, you got the chief's job because the police busted into a house looking for 2 murderers of a teenager, of a
really bad
kid.
Jerry and Blake.
And Jerry and Blake shot him in the chest because he laughed at him, right? An adult man was offended that the kid was laughing that he was on a moped.
What are you laughing at? Boom. Blew the kid away.
Boom. So you guys go to get him.
Go to get him.
A&E's in tow.
A&E's embedded with homicide. Homicide uses SRT.
SWAT.
So when they do the raid, they go in the house.
They throw a grenade.
They throw a flashbang in first.
Why?
To disorient.
For TV.
They
did it for TV.
I mean, now that's my speculation.
They did it for TV.
But, I mean, it is what it is.
You talk to those guys. You know what it was.
Yeah. So now they go in. Officer's disoriented. He pulls the trigger, kills a 9-year-old. So I'm assistant chief. I'm at home in bed. I'm in charge at that point because the chief was on vacation, which he's entitled to. There's nothing irregular.
There was no
that.
COVID going on.
No, and it's no commentary on the chief. It was just his time to have vacation. I was left in charge while he was gone. Get the call about 3:00 in the morning. Chief, are you up? You probably need to sit up for this one. So my first thought is the officer's killed in the line of duty. I never will forget the sergeant said, "Hey, we shot a 9-year-old and it's not looking good on a raid." Make it over to St. John's Hospital, and I am there in the emergency room when they pronounce her dead. That was the worst day of my life, literally, to watch that child die. Because I have a daughter. I left a daughter at home in bed, not much older than her. And the ironic part about that is that child's death propelled me into the position that I had prepared for all my life, but I didn't want it that way.
Chief.
Yeah, chief of police. I mean, who, when you get to those ranks, who doesn't aspire to, get that 5th star, 4th star, depending on how they do it. But that was, the thing that Mayor Bing and Saul Green, who was a deputy mayor at the time, Karen Dumas, who was managing communications, the mayor was very impressed at how I handled that. And what could have been a riotous situation, we brought some humanity to it. We got through it. But that's one thing, you never get over that. But at that point, Charlie, I knew no-knock warrants had to stop. So I ran the police department a bit differently. A lot of cops really didn't think I was much of a crime fighter, and I wasn't. That was not my focus as chief. My focus as chief was making sure black and brown people weren't abused by the police. So the thing that I'm proudest most, that most people will never know, when I took over the Detroit Police Department, we were 7 years into 2 federal consent judgments, and we had an abysmal record for use of force and for conditions of confinement in the jails. Our initial assessment with a new monitor was, I think we're at 20% compliance, with 94% being the goal to get out of it. So 7 years, that was the best we did, was 19%. When I walked away from Detroit Police Department, we were at 90% when I handed it over to James Craig.
Right there, brother.
So that was the seal of approval that said we were becoming a constitutionally sound police department. Now, I'll give you this. Crime did go up a little bit under my tenure. However,
there's got to be a balance.
There's a balance. But the only officer-involved shooting that resulted in a death in my 2 years was when the 6th precinct, when a guy came in with a shotgun and started blasting, and we returned fire and killed. And that was suicide by cop.
That doesn't count.
That was suicide by cop.
Let me ask you something, though, about that.
Yeah.
That night. Mm-hmm. Okay, it was an accident. Of course it was an accident.
Yeah,
you went in and you were hyped up.
Because if you know Weekly, you take all the BS aside, that kid was devastated when that happened.
For me, this is what I saw.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you can illuminate, maybe you can't. The story kept shifting amongst the blue. What happened? Grandma grabbed the gun. Well, Grandma moved. And that's where I have the problem with it. I think that's why they were put on trial.
I think that was a part of it, because one thing I was very, and Karen can attest to this, when we were preparing for the press conference that morning, I was getting a couple of different stories, and I wasn't going to say anything that I could not validate. So for me, my task that day was to let the city know that we gave a damn, that we killed a kid, and to express sorrow, express empathy, express sympathy, and basically we effed up. Because I think where police departments lose credibility and chiefs lose credibility is when you mess up. Most people can understand when you say, damn, I messed up. And this is what I'm going to try and do, make sure that doesn't happen again, because we're human. People make mistakes. Where people lose all faith in police departments is the lie. It's the cover up.
That's the same with fucking politics.
It's the cover up. It's never the crime. It's always the cover up.
With your partner.
With your partner.
It's the same with your kid.
It's the cover up.
It's just a lie.
Which brings us full circle to why I have an appreciation for you. It was never a cover up. I did what I did. I'm not proud of it or anything, but it was a catalyst in my life to really look at things differently. So that's why now I'm an advocate, for the kid on Mack and Bewick, Linwood in Philadelphia, Toledo in Chicago. When he did what the officer said, stop, show me your hands. And when he stopped, showed him his hands, he still got shot in the chest. Now, I don't fault that officer.
That's Chicago.
That was, it was a tough decision to have to make, in a split second.
He was frightened.
He was frightened. But by the same token,
what are you doing?
We can find a way to bring Dylan Roofy in after he killed 9 people.
Maybe we got lucky with that.
We get him. Well,
we also brought that dude in.
What about Kyle Rittenhouse walking down the street with an AR-15?
There's so many of them. What about the dude? Was in Washington? I can't.
Yeah, so
dude in his underpants.
But Charlie, that's why I try not to take it down to the level of judging the officer and looking at the results of what criminal justice is giving black people, and the results that we keep getting is dead black people that are not armed. So you got to look at that and wonder, what are we doing wrong?
Ralph, to that point, what effect, if any, do these armchair experts on social media that see every single video, what effect do they have on officers that are on the beat?
It's horrible. And the reason why it's horrible is because you don't have freeze frame in real time. I can stop the frame with the kid's hands up. So that's why I don't want to make it about the officer, because, I've been on national news a lot lately, MSNBC, talking about these issues, and I keep telling them, Charlie, I don't want to talk about one-offs because
they do. That's why I went.
Yeah,
let's get clicks, man.
I want to. I'm sorry. Just free.
Yeah.
I want to know because social media is also driven by what media is doing.
Yeah, it is.
And it's everybody just you never been in a squad car.
But everybody's an expert now.
Well, then at minimum get your ass in a squad car if you are to be.
And see it from both sides.
And do it for more than a night.
Exactly.
Do it for 2 months.
Right. So that's why I talk about what the officer sees. Then I talk about what I see as a black man, because you got to marry those narratives. Because if you don't marry those narratives, we'll never get to an answer. And quite frankly, I'm not the conspiracy theorist per se. However, you don't get clickbait for coming up with solutions. You don't get clickbait for, black and white people getting along. You don't get clickbait for officers that, stand up and say, yeah, this is not what I represent in law enforcement. So we got to understand, as much as people loathe number 45, the ratings were amazing. I mean, Joe Biden is boring as hell. I like boring now. I thank God to wake up every day and not have to look at Twitter to find out if World War III started. I'm glad. But the reality is Trump sold TV. He knew it.
That's the name of my book. The country's collapsing and the ratings are great.
And the ratings are great.
So available on Amazon.
Yes, sir.
You can always get that.
So I tend to over-explain to give Obama-like answers, but I appreciate this opportunity, Charlie.
Well, stay here. We're not done. Hold on.
Okay.
Read this.
Here I go. I'm back.
Here's the segue. Read that.
Karen, I'm back.
How do you go to...
I'm back in the saddle. How do you go to the segue after this? Hall Financial. If you feel good about your interest rate because it's in the 3s, get over it and call Hall Financial because rates are now in the 2s. Be smart and make the call because you could be saving money. Hall Financial is fast and they do all the heavy lifting for you. So go to David Hall.
Mortgage.com.
DavidHallMortgage.com or call 248-308-5000. That's 248-308-5000. DavidHallMortgage.com. NMLS number 146435.
Do you know they're an equal housing lender?
They are equal housing lender.
There you go.
Guess
what we do? Now we've got Ralph recorded. We just played.
Hey, Ralph says he wants, his voiceover fee for that.
Well, we'll get him a pack of cigarettes. All right, look, this week, comedian Detroit Red visits Eastpointe Mayor Monique Owens, who says the Democrats, and she's a Democrat, are ignoring her city's COVID needs because they're got a lot of...
Dare we say?
Well, it's not money.
Well, let's just play it.
You've been asking for vaccinations from the state as well as the county. You guys haven't been able to get what you need. What do you think is the reason behind that, especially considering you're a Democratic, female, you broke barriers in 2 different areas in here, so people in the state know you. What do you think is contributing to this delay or problem with you getting the vaccinations that you need right now for the city?
Well, lack of communication was one thing. Again, when Eastpointe was found the #1 hotspot last year during COVID, when vaccinations came, I thought they would be running to Eastpointe, and they wasn't. And that became a problem for me because Eastpointe, I feel the data and seeing that the demographics, we have more African Americans here than any other city in Macomb County. And so I feel like since the data also shows that African Americans tend to get COVID more and, more likely than any other race, and it's killing our race more than any other, it should have been placed here more, not just for African Americans, but everybody. But you always go to where, it starts. So it doesn't spread. And that didn't happen. And so, trying to work with the legislators and, politicians, it was kind of hard for me and challenging for me to, again, see the things that I saw. And I don't know if that's because I'm African American or that was the least of their, importance. I don't know. But what I do know is it was hard for me and challenging for me to get certain things done during that time. And so I ended up reaching out to the governor's office and, they came out and did, a couple things. They started last week, actually Saturday, and they got a vaccination spot. It just so happened to be in the wrong location outside of Eastpointe, but that was just, again, miscommunication. And so now
get it right, Whitmore.
So again, they're working right now to get us 2 locations right here in Eastpointe.
Okay.
They still don't got one.
Macomb County itself, because that's who would be next in line for you.
Right.
Okay, just through the chain. Do you think they were as supportive as they could have been throughout your pursuing of getting enough vaccinations for Eastpointe, and they had the same data that, of course, you provided to the state?
Right. I think with the county, again, I don't know, lack of communication, but I had talks with Executive Mark Hackle several times, and he did work to put, vaccinations that was in the neighboring communities. But my job is to worry about what's in my city.
Right.
That's my job. People didn't elect me to do everything in other communities, and that's fine. But at the same time, when I'm working closely with people, those people depend on me to work in their city. And so it was hard for me to, do those things that I wanted to do in Eastpointe because everybody was worrying about every other city that surrounded Eastpointe and not Eastpointe.
Okay. So guess what? We're calling that what's your beef, Karen. You know what the beef is? The mayor feels like you're not listening. We're the hot spot.
Right.
We're left behind. We're constituents. We're citizens. We're your brothers and sisters. By the way, Eastpointe is majority white.
That's always been my experience.
But it's like about 40%.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like Oak Park. Look, this is what America's like.
Right.
And it's poor people. Well, I don't mean to call you poor. You understand? You're working people.
It's work. I mean, but
because remember they changed their name because they didn't want to be associated with Detroit. It used to be East Detroit, and then they changed to Eastpointe because that put them more aligned with the points than Detroit.
Well, they're not now, Karen. So thanks for that. What do we do to help our brothers and sisters in Eastpointe?
I just say this.
You're absolutely right.
I know Mark Hackle. The Mark Hackle I know, this ain't race driven.
No. It's like, hey, dude, just get it done.
Just get it done. So I'm gonna text Mark and see what he says.
We'll get that done.
Because I don't
think Whitmer's a racist. No. But the mayor's feeling like, look, maybe it's got to be that. See, you're saying, maybe we're too sensitive about racism.
Well, this is my concern. When the fallback for everything is race, then the major issues that really are race, people are just so...
Finish the thought.
They're numb to it. They don't take it seriously anymore.
So if you're using race all the time, people stop listening.
They stop listening
to your legitimate complaint when they see it.
And that's why I save my energy for people dying by police. People that can't eat, people that can't get housing. I try and save my energy from a race standpoint for those issues that affect life.
Let me weigh in for 2 seconds here. Kelly Garrett, who is the mayor of not Southfield, Lathrop Village, right? And she said that the governor's office sent something to every mayor and asked him to fill out a request to have vaccination sites. Okay. So possibly that didn't get through to Eastpointe's office, or it was.
Well, you know what they should do? She should hold a press conference and blame Trump for not sending any masks. We should hold a press conference and blame Biden for not sending enough vaccinations. Oh, come on. Just get the woman some vaccines. And the people feel like there's something.
We got plenty.
Oh, yeah, we got. How is it?
But I don't know.
Wait, well, how is it that 2 weeks ago, Whitmer's up on the dais making a clown of herself, yelling at the president, we don't got enough vaccines, and now we got too many vaccines.
Yeah, too many. It's too. I mean, it's so that's what we got to get out. Is just everything is an alarmist.
Yes.
10 alarm fire. It's not.
Nah.
Some things are. A lack of failure to plan on your part does not necessitate an emergency on my part.
You know what, Ralph? What's driving that is economic anxiety.
Yes, it is. That's exactly what the driver is.
We should all be so calm, Ralph. You're always so even-keeled, so calm. Just we're going to go and take care of this, and that's a good thing. That's a good way to be.
But that's being a cop, though. So I mean, you can't be an alarmist and be a cop. For as long as I did, and to be chief of police. Because the stuff that you encounter, if you, just went, ballistic every time you got a report, you have to portray a certain leadership to your troops. So you can't look like, I mean, now on the inside, it's stuff that, I would hear and get news of, or the mayor would, send over, or Karen say, hey, are you aware of this? I'd be livid, but, I think at some point.
What's it sound like inside?
It's
let us hear the inside.
You want to, what it sounds like? It sounds like Jack Daniels when you get off. It sounds
let me hear
like,
it.
because, again, that's why cops.
Something like, motherfucker.
Yes, probably that too. But, I met Jesus along the way and got my life together. So
hey, next time
my language has gotten better.
Next time you see Jesus,
yes,
tell him what's up. He owe me money. He never comes around anymore.
I'm gonna tell him.
I leave messages.
Why are you calling him, Charlie, every 5 minutes?
Oh, I know he's there. But
you need the silent treatment.
Hey, JC,
you handle this on your own, Charlie. I have equipped you with all that you need. Stop calling me.
let me roll over here. Like that's okay. That's the word from the Democrat. That's your beep. Finally. From the Republicans, this is exclusive. Go ahead. Beep, 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 beep. Okay. Exclusive. There's a cultural shift in politics, and it's happening right here in Michigan. The political cycle is now 24/7, 365, never to end. Normally, campaign commercials start a year from now, about a year from now, when we're running for governor and attorney general and stuff. The Republicans are getting sassy, and they figured out you never let a good opportunity go to waste. So I got this. I don't know how I got it, but I got it. They're going to start flooding Lansing's airwaves next week with this. They're going to buy a little time here in southeastern Michigan, and it's pretty funny. So why don't we just roll? So that's what's happening. Politics are a sport every day of the week now, and you heard it here first on the No Bullshit News Hour. Let's play this.
Here in Michigan, we sacrifice and do the right thing for our fellow Michiganders. When Governor Whitmer mandated we cancel vacations and weddings to help stop COVID-19, we did it. When forced to visit our loved ones through glass windows, as hard as it was, we listened. If, however, you are the governor and you really want to see your family in Florida, because we all miss our families, then go ahead. And if you get caught, just lie. If the governor says no spring break this year, then that goes for all of us. Except, of course, if you are the person in the governor's office who is in charge of vaccine distribution and needing a girl's trip to Florida, then have a good time. Don't worry about failing to fill out the state's vaccine order, missing the deadline to get an additional 360,000 doses during a massive COVID surge. Your tan will be on point this summer. And as much as we all want to get a condo in sunny Gulf Shores, Alabama, we should heed Whitmer's advice. Unless you're her public health director, then bon voyage. Remember, Michigan, we are all in this together. We play by the rules. Unless you're Governor Whitmer or work for Whitmer. And in that case, play by your own rules. Pure hypocrisy. Pure Whitmer.
Wow.
Really powerful.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a hard-hitting spot.
Yep.
That is a hard-hitting spot.
And it's going to tell you about what's about ready to roll downhill. It's going to get.
If that's the start, how the hell they going to end? My goodness.
That means the Republicans smelling this seat for play here.
Yeah, that's a just putting on my political hat. I mean, that's pure genius. It really is.
Come on, you got to say it. Like, you might hate it.
It's pure Whitmer.
It's pure Whitmer, yeah.
It's a great ad.
It is.
It's well done, well
I
written.
wonder who's the creative behind that.
We'll
that's
find out.
a good piece.
They got a future.
They might.
God.
That's
hitting hard. That's hitting hard.
All right, well, listen, let's that was something. That was a terrific broadcast there. I really appreciate you, man. Your honesty, and I think you made it clear.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate the opportunity, Charlie.
Stop hunting.
Yeah,
lay
stop
off.
hunting. Lay off. And,
serious stuff.
We can do all the academic stuff behind the scenes, but that's the bottom line. Yeah, I appreciate you, though, man. I really do.
Equally.
Yeah,
I love you, Karen.
Love you guys, too. Thank
you. Love you, Karen.
Bye, Ralph.
Text Kid back. Tell him I said hello.
I will.
this land, it's your land.